Well, we know a lot about the soil right under our feet, but what about 9 feet below? Scientists at the University of Idaho, go Vandals, are diving deep, literally, to study deep soil and how it responds to climate change, drought, and other environmental shifts. With cutting-edge technology, secrets buried far below the surface, secrets that could shape the future of agriculture and our planet. Melissa went and visited the Moscow campus to dig a little deeper.
Michael, Zach, we are here to talk about those. What are those?
The deep soil ecotron, or an ecotron in general, is just the most highly instrumented kind of facility that is out there. So you have synchrotrons, rhizotrons, you have many types of facilities dedicated toward a discipline. This will be the only one dedicated to deep soil.
I mean, fully controllable. We have the ability to manipulate temperature, light, precipitation, all those sorts of things.
So you get to create the climate.
Yeah, exactly.
Soil is incredibly important. And when we talk about soil, I think people typically think of topsoil. Mm-hmm. But why deep soil? What's the importance and the value of understanding deep soil?
Honestly, it's a large unknown, or a big unknown. Zach and I always talk about it as kind of like our deep ocean, right?
Oh,
so we know a lot about the surface ocean, but we don't know a lot that goes on below that. And the same for soil.
But why understand the deep soil? What's important about knowing about the microbes or the lack of microbes, and maybe something else you might discover in that deeper layer?
How does this surface, these things that we do on the surface of the soil, impact those deeper layers? And in turn, how do those deeper layers impact surface soils as well? That's a huge piece of this. We're also able to monitor a whole lot of different aspects of these soils, which is really difficult to do in the field. So you have to dig a pit in the field. It's a lot of work, not to say that this isn't a lot of work too, but when you do that, you're automatically exposing that soil to the atmosphere, to the surrounding environment, and so what you're studying isn't this intact contained system anymore. Yeah. And so we're able to do that here and continuously monitor that over a long course of time.
What could deep soil tell us about Idaho?
This is kind of replicating a study that we have going on in the field, where we're looking at diverse cover crop mixes and less diverse cover crop mixes. So cover crops have become something I think that in Idaho we're focused on, or beginning to focus on quite a bit. But again, we're oftentimes only looking at the surface of those. And so here, at least here, we can already examine them up to a meter deep. It really accelerates the pace of research because we aren't beholden to the elements like you just mentioned. Yeah. So we can run these experiments to better understand how agricultural practice might impact soils, surface soils and deep soils. So this is really just a temporary setup here until we're able to move this into its permanent location. And what we're actually going to have is really, the soil depth that we'll have is really 3 of these stacked on top of each other. So the surface of the soil will actually be housed in this unit up here, where we're able to control the atmosphere, light, precipitation, all of those sorts of factors. And then the soil will be housed below this. So really it's this huge below ground component and then this above ground unit as well.
How are you going to access the soil though when it's way up there?
We have a very safe catwalk system designed to go from each eco unit to each eco unit, and we can just do laps and take measurements as we get what's going on above ground as well as what's going on within the deep soil.
And actually, this is just a temporary section. So there's an entire renovation going on a couple of doors over where these units will be housed.
Now I understand that there are other ecotrons in existence. However, what you're doing here is basically the first of its kind.
It is totally unique from the get-go, from the people involved to engineering these and just designing them. They can do so many things that other facilities cannot. We really designed this to test soil systems, so control soil temperature, soil moisture, change the climate like you suggested. We can increase CO2 concentrations, change the light spectrum. We can change the precipitation, chemistry, rates, everything. And this is the first one of its kind to actually do that because it was designed from the beginning.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Happening here at the University of Idaho. That's amazing. Okay, And what is your overall goal or future for this project?
Just gaining a better understanding of deep soils. It is a huge uncertainty. It impacts our ability to do research. It impacts our ability to do applied research and make recommendations to, say, growers. It also impacts our ability to understand how these soils are going to respond to future change. That's something that I think is a big piece of this, a big component of it. And that's, ultimately one of those goals is to just better understand how these soils play a role in, Earth systems.
Not just for Idaho, it's really for the entire nation and even the world. Because it's such a unique facility, we really want researchers from, all over the world to come here and ask their questions. And we have the personnel, we have scientists that can help with those research endeavors.
Where can people go so they can learn more about your project?
They can go to deepsoilecotron.org or uidaho.edu.
Perfect. Thank you both.
Thanks.